Hello, welcome everyone. This is Amy of Mystic Rose Tarot. I want to wish everyone who is celebrating and paying respect for the season of Mabon and also the autumn equinox. I hope you had a wonderful way of bringing in the start of the autumnal season, which will take us right into Yule, which will be on December 22nd. So we're starting autumn from September 22nd to December 20th, and then we move into Yule on December 21st, I think. Anyhow, happy Mabon, happy autumn equinox. So over the next few weeks, we are going to be seeing our days getting slightly shorter, and that will be increasing as we get into our mid and tail end part of the autumn season. So enjoy this time of the year. I know a lot of us who have a metaphysical spiritual practice, we welcome this time of the year because it does get darker earlier, and it gives us this time to really be more connected to ourselves and slowly move away from the conscious realm. We start slowing things down. We're in the waning part of this season, starting now. And so this is a wonderful time to really delve into changes, looking back at what's been manifested, what has been created, harvesting. We're now in our second Sabbath for harvest. Our first one was Lunisad, Lammas, which was August 1st. This is our second one, the autumn equinox, Mabon. And then our third will be Samhain, Halloween, on October 31st. So that wraps up that day of Halloween, wraps up the harvest season. And then we really start going into the winter months. And actually, I find the winter months, winter solstice and Yule, to be a time of preparing for the spring. So I'll talk about that when we get into that time of the year, the solstice and Yule. And it's actually time to start activating, not taking actions, but just start planning for our spring, what we want to do. But let's jump back a little bit here. Every Sabbath, I will be sharing a reading to culminate and to break down the months of that season. So for instance, we're in autumn. So the months of autumn are October, which is the sign of Libra, November, the sign of Scorpio, and December, the sign of Sagittarius. But with the cards that I'm working with here, I'm working with the Witch's Wisdom by Phyllis Curott and the Witch's Oracle by Sally Morningstar. What I enjoy most about these decks in particular is they're completely aligned with how we individually are connected and disconnected to nature, how we have to get back to our ancestral roots, going back to the basics, to the traditions of how we can connect to ourselves and how to let go of things, how to heal. So I've been doing this for this year, for the previous Sabbats. So I have here a 9-card reading. And I've only pulled 3 cards for each month. So I have 3 cards total for the month of October, 3 cards for November and December. I wanted to do it like this because I didn't want to go into a long reading, because I will be doing readings throughout the months. So when I do my readings for October, if you want to reflect back to this video, you could see the general actions, the general guidance for each month and see how those readings, even readings that you do for yourself during the next few months, how those can align to these particular cards that I have here for each month. And also, I don't want to do a large reading because then it's going to go on for quite some time. So with the month that I have here for October, I'm going to be glancing a little bit off to the corner because I have a whole bunch of notes here from the article that I wrote for my blog regarding this particular reading for Mabon and the autumn equinox for the Wheel of the Year. So let's go right into the month of October for Libra. So we can start from this time onward until we go into the sign of Scorpio, which will be, I believe it's October 20th or 21st. There's always that one day on, one day before, one day after for the changing of the signs based on the years, because it's the position of the Earth and placement of the axis. And that determines if we're going to have it on October 20th, 21st. It's usually one or two of those days. So what I have here for the month of October. Now, this is the Witch's Oracle by Sally Morningstar. And this oracle deck for each of the upcoming months that I'll be reading and share my interpretation. The Witch's Oracle, I use as the key action, what needs to be motivated, what needs to be, what energy needs to be focused on during that month. And then the other two cards that I have give an overall guide as to how to work with this energy. Now, the Witch's Wisdom and the Witch's Oracle are different, but they still have the commonality of connecting with the tools of the elements, earth, air, fire, water, how to work with those tools, those energies, what we could bring in and what we can use to release during each of these months. So to continue onward, the Wizard. We have here spiritual impeccability, but I changed the wording on this because I feel one of the words, and I think this suits a little bit better, that Sally Morningstar used to describe this card was integrity. And so with the Wizard is normally aligned with male energy, male spiritual energy. But in this case, the way I want to focus this is just general. It could be masculine, feminine energy. It's how we use this. So the Wizard is a master, is a spiritual mentor, someone who knows how to work with all these elements and knows how to use these tools in a wise way, and not centered so much for the purpose of the ego. Okay, there's some similarities with the Wizard, and if you look here, we see the energy that this individual is shifting, manifesting, changing. And for this month of October, this is where our focus is. Focus is how we use our spiritual gifts, how we use our intuition, how we use our knowledge, but in a way that it benefits other people as well as yourself. But you're not doing it, you're not coming from a place of, I want to do this just to build, more power with my practice. First and foremost, this is looking out for how people can be affected by the use of your influence. So use this influence in a manner that is of self-respect, and to those around you, those that will benefit from it. This is coming from a place of pure truth, spiritual truth. And again, it's not a means to use it to take control, to manipulate anyone. This is the purest state of how you utilize your knowledge and how it's expressed to other people. So this is where we are for the month of October. October is also the sign of Libra. So we're looking at harmony. It's ruled by Venus. So there's some beauty with beauty and influence in relation to Venus and Libra, and how it comes to how we share our spiritual knowledge and gifts with other people. We want to create a nice balance. We want a good interaction, and we'd like to have a wonderful balance with people. And so if we can share what we already know or what we've experienced that we feel can benefit other people, then by all means do this, but do it in a way that it creates a nice symbiosis between the person who is sharing the knowledge and also those who are listening and being open to it. So that's the wizard. Okay, so using your gifts, your knowledge, your wisdom, but coming from a place of purity of the heart and integrity. So for the month of October, that's the key. Okay, how we use our spiritual knowledge or just experience that we have, something that we've learned and grown from. That's a tool in itself. And it's something that a lot of people don't have experience. So if you can share that and people are open to it, then that's coming from a place of purity. Second, the two cards that I have here, this is from the Witch's Wisdom, is the Ace of Water. Okay. I'm going to show you these cards very quickly. And then the Nine of Water. Okay, so interesting enough, even though Libra is a sign related to air, and we're trying to create balance and we're trying to, make mindful choices where things will be in a equilibrium for those that are involved. Keep that in mind. But with these two cards, especially the Ace of Water, we're coming from a place of dealing with emotions, where we are currently with our feelings. And with the Ace of Water, it's also a time of letting go. Water is regenerative, it's healing, it's transformative, it's cleansing. And so with the Ace of Water, and especially since we have this beautiful frog, which is of land and also of water, it is a form of transformation. We take a bath, we take a shower, it's cleansing. We go into the ocean, we get those negative ions, it's healing, it's a release. So with the Ace of Water, this is a time of really building up our intuition, letting go emotionally, okay? Anything that we could be harboring that is just not allowing us to move forward. This is the Ace of Water is giving us this opportunity to just let go, release, be open to any possibilities that may be ahead of you. And come from a place of where you can fully experience everything, body, mind, and spirit. So if there is a release that's coming on, let it go. Let it manifest physically if you get sick. Emotionally, if it's anger or tears or sorrow, of anything like that. Psychologically, look at your dreams, see how you see things, let it go. October, okay, with Libra, by releasing all of these energies and being open and not being fearful of all these changes that are going on, you're coming from a place of purity because you're releasing. You've allowed yourself the moment, the time, whatever you need to cleanse yourself. And there's the term baptism of fire, but here's the baptism of water, literally, coming to terms and really facing what's going on. And I think this has come up a few times in past readings where we really have to face our challenges, the time to be emotionally honest. The next card here, the nine of water. Okay, the focus here is on the endurance, the determination of the salmon. Salmon is fish related to water, but the salmon goes through this interesting process of it spawns, it goes upstream, it's doing things that could risk its survival, but it does this naturally. It knows that it has to take chances, facing challenges, literally take a leap of faith. And it is encouraged to do this. I think everyone should be faced with a challenge. Not that no one does have challenges, but a challenge that really pushes you and really gets you wondering, am I going to get through this? You cannot spend your time thinking about it. This is something, again, with the water, it's a time of moving through naturally and going through any obstacles that come your way. The nine of water here with the salmon is basically telling you, forcing you to do this. And also, again, it's the cycle process. It goes upstream, spawns, dies, and then its next whatever the salmon has spawned, it continues the cycle. It's generation after generation. So in this whole process of life, death, regenerating, each time this process goes on, you are transforming yourself, into a new experience. And this is the whole process of the self, how we have to face and let go of these issues. Sometimes we have to be faced with challenges. I can almost relate this a little bit to the Chariot. The Chariot is dealing with opposing forces, things that it may not be used to, but it has to retain control so that it can go on and continue moving forward. Only difference here with the nine of water is that I feel here there is no choice in the matter. You're faced with a challenge. You're going to sink or swim. And salmon does not sink. They keep moving. They keep the process of going. As you could see here, jumping, doing whatever it takes to get to where they need to be in their destination. So it's a form of survival with the nine of water. So for October, we can see some challenges, but if you could stick to it and, spiritually apply that kind of characteristic into challenges that you have, emotionally don't get too overwhelmed, Libra, harmony, we want to create things to move smoothly for people. Doesn't happen all the time, but if you could do the best that you can during the month of October, and emotionally just be open and receptive to whatever happens, you may be surprised what can come from it. And this doesn't necessarily mean the reading that I've done for October is going to lead into November, December. It's a process that could take some time. But depending on what's going on with you individually, these cards could play a major influence for you. Okay, so for the month of October, Ace of Water, letting go. Any anger, issues, so that you can move forward and experience something new, something where you're coming from the heart, and that you're healed and you're ready to move on. Nine of Water, taking those challenges straight on, being determined no matter what comes your way. Swim upstream. Do something that you challenge yourself. Do something that you've never had an opportunity to do or maybe have not been faced. And then with the Wizard, with all this action, releasing and challenges, come from a place that is of purity of the heart. Working with the energy that you have. This is positive energy, nothing negative, nothing hatred, nothing that could do harm to anybody, including yourself. Working with your sources and empowering yourself in that way, and using that self-empowerment to get through and to grow through yourself emotionally, physically, mentally, and spiritually. Okay, so that's for the month of October. Okay, so October for Libra. Our next month, November. Okay, we're focusing on the energy of Scorpio. Okay, and again, this is from the Witch's Oracle. So I have here, we have the characteristic of Nemesis, lessons. This card here for Scorpio, the month of November, deals with karma, karmic action. Things that we've done in the past, we can use this month. And Scorpio is a really good sign. Let me just sidetrack a little bit. Scorpio has the reputation of just, got to watch out for that stinger, but they have strong passions and strong desires. And sometimes it can backfire and cause a karmic backlash. But thing that I enjoy about Scorpios is that they have no fear for the most part. If they find their strengths and enhance that strength, they can work through anything of the past. And in fact, I feel that Scorpios want to, because Scorpios want to understand what's going on. And so that's where I think the misconception can come in, because it's a fixed sign. So they really want to get to the issue, to the center of the matter, and they'll do what it takes to get there, and to heal. Scorpio's ruled by the planet Mars and Pluto. Pluto's destructive, transformative, regenerative. It's life, death, and rebirth. And so with Scorpio, and this card of karmic actions and learning from those experiences, we could take this influence of Scorpio and just putting anything that's happened in the past to the forefront and go, I'm going to take care of this now, because I don't want this to be part of my life anymore. I need to get right to the center of it. If you can have that kind of directiveness towards anything karmic wise, you have automatically self-empowered yourself to take care of these issues. And again, it's taking that responsibility for the choices that we've made, and making those amends for any negative actions, that we may have done for ourselves or to ourselves, and as well, and probably most important, to others. So it isn't a time of physical action. This is a time of listening, okay? Listening and acknowledging what has been done, and to relieve the soul and bring it back to a place of kindness of the heart and wisdom, making better choices. Okay, we're not perfect. We've slipped many times, and we regret it. But as long as we understand our actions and not to do it again, or maybe do it a different way where there's no harm being done to anyone. To show here very quickly, we have here, this is the element of earth, symbol for earth, calling in the quarters north, south, east, west. And this individual is placed right in the center of it and is holding cup for purity, water, and then the apple for knowledge. And then here we have symbol for enlightenment, for wisdom, higher knowledge, by working with these two realms. Purity of the soul and getting and retaining and going higher with our knowledge. So be mindful of that. Let's learn from our lessons for the month of November and using that influence of Scorpio, putting that desire, it's like, I want to get rid of this. I can do it, and I'll do what it takes to relieve any pain, sorrow that I've done to myself and or to someone else. We don't want to hold on to that. And I almost mention this every time I do a live reading. We can make peace, we can let go of karma, but once karma has been done, it's there. A mark has been made. We cannot go back and erase it. It has been done, but we can move on from it. And that's very important. We can't be attached to, oh my God, the anguish of putting someone through some issues that you may have been, that you may have incited. We have to let that go and move on. Okay. And keep in mind, we're not perfect. And if you can move from that place of thinking and just learn to start anew, purify the soul, then you can move on with a good conscience, clear conscience, if you will, letting go, it's done, and then coming from the heart, a place of kindness. Okay, let's go right to these other two cards. This here is the Goddess of Air from the Witch's Wisdom. And these two cards I'm going to be showing you, this one and the Ten of Earth. What's interesting here is that we have the common denominator of the web, but it's the process of how the web is used, how it was created, any breaks, any sever, any healing that came through the web. That's what we're going to see here with these cards. The Goddess of Air. This relates specifically to the many different ways that we can still remain present within our relationships. So the webs relate to how we connect with people and in work, love, and also within ourselves. And it's also giving us the opportunity to look at these relationships, look at these interconnections. And here we have different tools. We have a knife. There's a special name that in the book that this tool is used for. And then we have the cup. And so it's utilizing these tools to the cup for healing. This you could see here, the knife for cutting the ties. I could say maybe this could be used for healing. There are three ways to approach one's own direction, creation, the journey of life. And it can be through release, healing, mending a situation, or leaving things as it is and seeing where things go at this time. So these are 3 ways that you can deal with various kinds of connections with people. And whatever choice you make will lead ultimately to that 10 of earth, even though we're dealing with a different element. Here is air, and the 10 of earth is just that earth. But here with the goddess of air, we're seeing the interaction, the community. Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius. When you think about it, I'm not going to do an astrological reading, but those influences of communication, what we will do to balance a relationship, how much work are we going to put into it, and idealistically, what do you see is the best means for creating and continually create the direction that we go in our lives. Another thing to look at is when it comes to this interaction with people, are these people that you want to currently have in your life? How do they feed you? How do they drain you? What's the inspiration that comes to it? And also know that whatever is released, whatever is cut, this could be mended again. So remember what I was saying? We have the severing, the cutting, we have the mending, okay? The healing of the situation, or just leaving things the way it is and just continually growing from it, okay? And when you sustain a relationship like that, that means that everything is in balance and that it will continue to grow. But if you need to make changes and release things, it's always fine, because you can always go back, fix this if you do let go, mend this back. Well, I shouldn't say mend, but put this together, and this opens up another line for potential for something new to come in, a new connection from outside, or a new connection within. This web can also represent the changes that we go on within our lives. The web is complex, as is life. So it depends on the direction that we go, how we see things, the perspective that we take, and the actions that we do to follow through with it. So with the 10 of earth, okay, here we're seeing the journey. Okay, I'm going to hold this card up. Now remember, with the nemesis, we're dealing with karmic action. So we can entwine this for the month of November in that sign of Scorpio, of rebuilding, regenerating, putting the proper amount of right-mindedness and right action to get us on a path that will sustain us, down the road. And so here we're seeing the influence of the 10 of earth. We're seeing challenges that, well, we're not seeing it here, but there are challenges that we've gone through. We've taken care of it, and we've healed from it, and we're growing from it. We're seeing the positive attributes, influences within this card. This creates a stability, and the stability also comes from a place of inner harmony, equilibrium, but also grace. This path here isn't sloppy, it isn't messy. This is the outcome of making these choices and doing these actions. It's coming from a place of gratitude, because we've seen the journey behind us, and we've believed in ourselves. We remain determined, Okay, I'm going to go back to here, this card, remember? Integrity, learning how to work with our spirituality, our self-empowerment to get us through dark, to create light, to be there for others, have people support us. But the whole process here with the 10 of Earth, the journey, the path, is to continually grow. Okay. And there'll be those times that, we do have to stop and, take a moment. And that's what I was saying. This journey doesn't necessarily mean that's going to happen from 1 month into the next, but these cards here are actions and perspectives that you could take to making those changes. Again, we have a moment of gratitude. That's very important. And working through the way that we interact with people, in a way, bringing in means of support that we can give back to other people for the goddess of air. Okay. So November, for the month of Scorpio, let's face these issues of the past. Not all of them. Everyone has a whole bunch of stuff going on, but one that just really needs to be worked on. Focus on that. And heal from that, move on from that. But come from that place of Scorpio, of desire, wanting to be done with a particular issue. And to move forward. Heal, severing, nurturing, continually to grow. Okay. Okay, so for December, the month of Sagittarius. So we started with Libra, air, Scorpio, Libra for October, Scorpio for November, and now December for Sagittarius, air, water, fire. Now these cards they're not set up astrologically, but because I'm doing these readings for particular months, I just want to throw in a little bit of the influence of these astrological signs. Not a whole bunch, but just some of the key influences. So Sagittarius, the card I have here for the month of December for Sagittarius is the familiar. Now Sagittarius is a mutable sign, Scorpio is a fixed sign, Libra is a cardinal sign. So they all have their different approaches when it comes to dealing with things in their lives, different situations. Libra is cardinal, so all the cardinal signs welcome in all the seasons. So Libra is welcoming in the sign of, the season of the autumn equinox. So they're initiators. They like to create, cardinal signs like to create movement, things that will create balance, that will create action, that will create stability, a foundation. Those are the cardinal signs. Okay, and then Scorpio's fixed. So once they have, once Scorpio, Taurus, and Aquarius have a fixated perspective, a fixated way of doing things, it's very hard to really change the mind of fixed signs or change their actions. Once they have their mind or they already have a plan set, it's pretty hard to get it to change. Sagittarius, fire, they're the mutable sign. So they come in between the times of transition of seasons. So Sagittarius is the tail end of the autumn equinox, and we're getting ready to move into Yule, like I said, which will take us either December 21st or 22nd. So Sagittarius is the sign of the adventurer. They like to explore, higher knowledge, always looking not at what's in front of them, it's what's ahead of them. And that's what keeps Sagittarius moving forward. And they're very optimistic. Nothing can, for the most part, not shake the optimism of a Sagittarius. They'll find the good in many situations, and when it's bad, they can still work through it. But here we have the familiar. Now, this card here, as we see, this is with the Witch's Oracle, we're seeing a connection of someone very close to us, friendship. Doesn't necessarily have to be our familiar, an animal familiar like a cat, dog, owl, whoever our companion is that connects us and connects with us to the spiritual side. But what's very important here for the month of December, Sagittarian energy, is let's be mindful of those that we've shown support for, and also those who have shown support for us back. It's very important to keep in mind, especially as we get to the holiday season for December. We're talking about family. We're talking about people that mean a lot to us. So this is the time. This is our key action for the month of December. Let's focus on those that are of very powerful influence to us. It could be a friend. It could be a coworker, someone that has influenced us, but also it goes back in return. There's equal support. So that's for the familiar. That's our key action. Allies, surrounding ourselves with those who feel, think, speak the same. We're all on the same page and we support each other. Okay, so here, which is wisdom. I have here the Eight of Earth. So what's interesting with this, okay, remember this, the Witch's wisdom and also Witch's oracle, all connecting to Mother Nature, to Earth, to the elements. And here, the Eight of Earth, there's not an individual, there's not animal life here. The whole focus on this scene is to be out in nature. Okay, I know in the Southern Hemisphere, around this time, they're going to be moving close to summer, while in the Northern Hemisphere, we are getting ready to move into winter. So this card, though, despite of the season, wants us to still remain connected to nature. Take that time to go outside and ground. Look at the environment that you're currently in. It could be your living environment, work environment, where you spend the time the most. And come from a place where, when you're in that environment, how do you feel? Okay, it's a time of self-assessing when you're in an environment. The environment can be challenging. It could be lacking inspiration, but you're there because you need to be there. And because it's the support that's needed by other people, but it's not benefiting you. So in this case, if you cannot leave a situation, go out and place yourself in the environment where at least you're around the four elements. Okay. We have air, we have earth, we have water. We don't see it here, but the sun, because this is daylight, use that as fire for vitality. When we go out in nature, I can't think of a single person that, depending what environment, it could be the water, the beach, the mountains, the desert, on top of a hill somewhere and getting all that air energy. These are places of healing and just being grounded. And that's what's so important. We need to take those moments to get out of our usual environment, one that could be of disservice to us, one that could be debilitating us, and reconnect. You hear people like, I got to get away. I need to get out in nature. I need to get out so I can just, what is it? Ground, reconnect, rejuvenate, heal. And being here is the purest form of physical, emotional, spiritual, mental balance. And also know that you are protected when you go out into these realms, because these elements of fire, air, earth, and water are powers of empowerment. They make you feel good when you're out there. So, as I mentioned, this is for Sagittarius. Being adventurous, this could actually be a very good sign for Sagittarius during the month of December to go out. Be adventurous. And also, this gives us the moment to find our true connection, our true spirit with nature, and also to align with our divine self. Okay, doesn't necessarily mean that, when you go outside that you're going to just feel divine, but there's a shift. There's a shift that takes place when you're outdoors. And that's the healing of the soul. And so that's really important. And, we see cities where maybe there's no access to like large multi-level office buildings. When you get to the lower level or some levels, there's a tree, there's a waterfall, there is some aspect of nature that's there. And when people create buildings like that, they're keeping in mind the environment of where these people are working, where they're living. They don't want to see their desk, all the time. Take a break, or at least the building is constructed in such a way that you have a view and it gives you some connection to nature momentarily. So it's really important to keep that going. And there are ways that you can create nature in your own room, by bringing in the 4 elements. An aquarium, okay, for water. A fireplace, if you have access, to connect with fire, or just, be careful though, candles, create that kind of environment. Or even better yet, more natural than candles, sunlight. Make sure you get a lot of sunlight coming in. And then air, just keep ventilation going. Keep everything fresh and pure. Think about it in those ways. Now, the last card that I have here, and I'm going to do a recap on this. It's the Council of All Beings. This is the equivalent for this deck of the World card. And what this influences is all the forces of Mother Nature, of earth, air, fire, water, coming together and merging as one. When you merge as one, when you merge all those elements together, you are fully connected, spirit and earth. Okay. We see here the gathering of a community. And this community here is coming from a place of love and healing. We have water. We have the earth. We have fire, the sun, air above us, and then the upper echelons above all of these, higher knowledge. It's the cosmic awakening. It's the merging here. We could say this is the tree of life, and above this, we see the influences. And above the tree of life, we have the knowledge. We have the awakening. At this time when you are surrounded with a supportive group, remember what I was saying earlier about connecting with community? I'm trying to see which card this is. How we interact with people. Connecting with those that will support us, letting go of those that cannot. But by bringing in the power of enforcement through people who think and feel the same, start looking for signs for this. And if you're having a conversation or you meet someone, watch the energy, how it's going. Pay attention if things are feeling like, wow, there's something connecting here. Let's go with this. Go with it. Because this could actually lead to something that can grow, that could create love and healing. This is what the council of all beings is. And so with this month of December, for the month of Sagittarius, I'm going to start reflecting a bit. We're looking at the support of our allies. This is where we're going here with the community. Connecting with the divine self through nature. And the power of community, finding the right group of people. It doesn't have to be a community where we're talking about hundreds of people. Community can be a small group of people. Those are the forces and the focus for the month of December. Okay. And again, the key influence is through allies, finding those individuals, carrying, nurturing those relationships so that you can continue to grow and hold respect to those people that have been there for you and you've been there for them. Show the support in the month of December as we get towards the end of autumn. And then for November, we were talking about karmic action. Let's make amends. Let's work through this. Let's release any actions, any feelings that we may still have from our karmic past. Let it go. Releasing ties that are no longer part of us and creating new connections within relationships. Okay. Seeing the connection that we have already in our lives and seeing what is important. Choice, the people that we've brought in. Here, the interconnection of the self by creating harmony through the body, mind, and soul. Okay, and this is the focus for November, for the month of Scorpio. But the premise of that comes through karma, letting it go, purifying, gaining knowledge, listening. Don't take actions. When you're trying to heal karma, it's a time of just listening, being mindful. What have you learned? And apply it to the future. Okay. You can't revert back to karma. It's already been done. So it's a time to move on. That's why I was taking a moment to reflect on that. Don't take any action on past karma. It's done. For the month of October, for Libra, our key influences is, let's be our own wizard. Spiritual integrity, working with self-empowerment through our spiritual practice, but using the energy that we have in a wise way, not coming from a place of ego. You're doing this because your influence onto people is because you care. You want this to come purely from the heart and not doing it for the sake of trying to, over control, overpower people with your gifts. That's an abuse. And that's something that some people do, whether they're mindful of it or not. But be aware of your spiritual actions and how you speak. And so, I lost my notes here. Hang on one second. So spiritual integrity, emotional and intuitive self-expression with the Ace of Water, letting go, release, just be open. And in doing so, you're able to come from a place, purity of the heart. Emotionally, you're open to anything that comes to you. And you're welcome to it. Again, remember the powers of water: regenerative, healing, transformative. And then ending, Nine of Water. Salmon is considered to be wise and magical because of how it has its tenacity to go, I'm going to use the analogy again, go up against the stream, go against things that may seem impossible. Challenge yourself. This is again for the month of October, the sign of Libra. I'm not saying Libras have to do this, but just this is for everyone. For October, November, December, Libra, Scorpio, and Sagittarius. This entire reading, challenge yourself. And if you're already faced with a challenge, go through it. Do not back down. This will make you stronger. Taking that chance, leap of faith. And it's the process, once you've overcome a challenge, it's an amazing feeling. It's like, wow, I did it. I faced the fear. I faced a potential outcome that I thought may come against me, but you went ahead and went through it. I think the key word with this card in particular is when you're going through a challenge, don't have any expectations. Because when you build expectations towards something that may be hard to swallow, as you're doing these steps to make the changes, you may not be seeing immediate outcomes, and that's going to probably lessen your means to continue on to overcome any obstacles. Don't go with any expectations. Just do it. Just do it. Do it, do it, do it, do it, do it. A good friend of mine many decades ago, when I was in a rut, he's a musician, sent me a tape. It was something along the lines, hey, I got something to send, I want to send you. And I want you to listen to it over and over again. I had no idea what he was doing. I thought it was a song. And he's like, let me know what you think. He sends me it. It's a tape. Put it in. And he's just playing guitar. And he's just saying, Amy, just do it. Just do it, do it, do it, do it, do it. And I laughed, but I understood. I never forgot that. This is like over 30 years ago. And he was so right, because I had self-doubt, self-belief that, what I was going through, I wasn't going to be able to get through, but I did. It may have felt impossible to me, but I did it. So when you go through those challenges and you get through it, you're just like, and you hear it. People are like, yeah, I can do it. I got this. I got this, right? So let's start October in this way, focusing with how we work our spiritual influences onto other people. Make sure it's coming from a place of the heart and you're sharing your knowledge, and emotionally, release, be open, and take those challenges straight on. It's going to be interesting the next few months, October, November, December. So that's our reading for Mabon, autumn equinox, all nature connected. We have our own nature within us. So these cards are reminders of that. And place ourselves in that environment, place ourselves with those influence of those elements to move, to heal, to think wisely, and come from a place of feeling cleansed and pure of heart and spirit. So I will leave you on that note. Have a wonderful autumn season, everyone. Again, any questions, comments, feel free to leave them below. And if any of these cards ring true to you, or if there's a certain connection, let me know. And so I will be doing the next reading, as I mentioned at the top of this video, around December 21st, 22nd. I have to see what's going on at that time, but ideally, I do my best to do this on the day of, or at least the day before or day after, for the reading for that Sabbat. Alrighty, I will see everyone again soon. Thank you so much for listening. I greatly appreciate your support, and I will be checking in with you again soon. Thank you again.